How you doing there, Daniel? You go. Good to see you, Zeb. So nice to see you all, Wendy Crawford. Oh, yes. How you all feeling out there, ladies and gentlemen? Well, welcome to my basement. This is where all started. You know, when they started shutting things down, I'm sure you've had to figure out how to adapt with not only COVID, but really our response to COVID, shutting people in who are healthy all around the world. And, you know, this is my mission. I have 74 companies, actually 78 companies now, and they're in all kinds of different industries. And we're lucky enough to do about $6 billion in business. And it all sounds wonderful. And when COVID hit, you know, about 70% of those businesses lost anywhere from 50 to 80% of their revenue. So for those of you who have business owners out there, or God forbid, restaurant owners in places like New York and California, my heart goes out to you all around the world, or Australia, anywhere you are. And I just want you to know that these next few days, my commitment is to show you what we've been able to do in so many of these areas so that you can really have an impact, so that you don't find yourself feeling out of control. Now, don't get me wrong, there's all kinds of things we can't control. Right? We all know that. We're in a situation that's unlike any we've seen in a long time. And with all that has created even more strife politically, strife that's gone on racially in some parts of the world, the U.S., for example. But in the midst of this winter time, and it's clearly winter, you know, some people freeze to death in winter. Other people figure out how to snowboard or ski, how to build a great fire, how to be with their family, how to grow. And my heartfelt wish is to really serve you in a way this week that'll blow your way, that'll really give you the momentum that you need. Because as I always say, there's two worlds to master, right? There's the external world, and listen, we can influence it, but we can't control it completely. But everything in the external world started in your internal world. And if we master this internal world, then you're going to have an extraordinary quality of life no matter what happens. See, I've had the privilege now of doing this. This is my 44th year. I started when I was 2, of course, right? But I've been doing this 44 years in about 150 countries around the world. And at this point, I could be an idiot. And I have to see there are patterns that'll make you angry and frustrated and stressed and overwhelmed and lonely, depressed, overwhelmed, whatever, stressed. And there are patterns that'll make you feel excited, passionate, playful, strong, resilient, something that'll make you feel euphoric even at times. And many times we think it's because of what's happening in the outside world. But the truth is we all have what I call an emotional home, a place that we go back to. And it's kind of like, I'm sure you've seen people that, you know, live in a community where every 2 or 3 years a cyclone comes by or a storm and it wipes everything out. You see people lose all their stuff and there's crying and there's tears, and I'm sure your heart goes out to them. But my bet is that many have seen that happen again and again in a community and thought to yourself, why don't they move, right? But it's easy to see when it's somebody else that they should move, but it's what they know. It's where they've grown up. Well, we all have an emotional home, and we don't see it. And that emotional home is controlling the quality of your life. Because my whole life is committed to helping people experience a greater quality of life, not on my terms, on your terms. I don't know what it is you truly want, but I know there are specific tools that'll get you through the problems, the challenges, accelerate your success, and most importantly, make sure that you have a fulfillment. Because there are a lot of people that succeed in business and finance and their careers and even have a beautiful family, and they're still not happy. Because their emotional home, what they kind of grew up with inside themselves, the thing they know they go back to, like those people going back to the home that they know is going to get destroyed again. And so we want to see if we can't expand your emotional home this week and give you a set of skills, tools for your body, for your emotions, for your relationships, for your business, for your career, and for your finance. In other words, let's look at the full picture of your life. And I'm committed to give you everything I can in this short time. It's challenging for me because the shortest thing I normally do is like a 12 to 14 hour day. Literally, we do 5 days in a row, 7 days in a row. And people that wouldn't sit for, you know, a 3-hour movie that someone spent $300 million to make will go there, sometimes dragged by somebody else. And within a short time, 15, 20, 30 minutes, they get into it because we use your body so much as well as your mind. What I've discovered is you can't separate these two. If you try to think yourself into thinking positive, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, and your brain goes, BS, read between the lines, I'm not happy, right? You have to be able to train your body and your mind. When they work together, there's no limit to what you can experience. But you can have $1 billion and have a miserable life, true? And you can have no money whatsoever and have a magnificent life because it all comes down to the patterns of emotion you have. If you got $1 billion and your primary home, the emotions you come back to, your brain finds a way to get back there, whether it's good or bad, is to feel frustrated and angry, then the quality of your life is frustrated and angry. It has nothing to do with $1 billion. If you have the most beautiful children, a great husband, wife, great family, but the primary emotions you live in every day is worry and stress, then you don't experience the love and joy of your family. Your life is called worry and stress. In other words, if you want to jot this down to start, the quality of your life, and by the way, how many of you came here for this time because you're ready to go to the next level? You're ready to make 2021 your best. You want an extraordinary quality of life. Say I. Say I. That's wonderful. I can see all of you on Zoom, and the rest of you can pop it into the chat if you're there on Facebook. By the way, we have 750,000 people, over 750,000 people right now that have joined us from 195 countries. It's unbelievable. We have almost 11,000 VIPs here, and we have just donated 1 million meals already based on your participation. So while you're making better, we're helping people need it. Give it up for all the people that we're able to help out there as well, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up. Whoa. By the way, 195 countries, that's how many countries the UN recognizes. We counted it 3 times. So every country in the world is represented here. So thank you, and we're making a difference. But what I'm starting to say is, write down the quality of my life is the quality of my emotions. If you have certain emotions, it won't matter how much you achieve, it won't matter if COVID's here or not, it won't matter if there's political division or not, you're gonna be miserable. And if you can find a way to master this internal emotion, where you have more gratitude or more joy or more excitement or more passion or more drive or more hunger or more playfulness, your life will completely transform. Because the way we measure our life is how we feel. And yet most of us are not emotionally fit. And it's nobody's fault. We've grown up in an environment, many of us, where it's gotten easier and easier and we've gotten weaker and weaker. I mean, think about technology. Technology is starting to use us instead of us use technology. It's starting to condition us. I'm sure many of you have seen The Social Dilemma. And if you haven't, you should watch it. It shows how the people that use social media literally have engineered how to change the way you think and feel so they can get you to do certain things the way they want it. It's a little scary, but you can take back control. In order to take control, though, we have to become emotionally fit. I don't mean intellectually fit. I'm talking about where fitness is a state of readiness. I'm sure you've heard of emotional intelligence, those skills, those awarenesses that can allow you to interact better with human beings, have better quality of life potentially. And I think emotional intelligence is wonderful. But this week is about emotional fitness. See, you can have a capacity, an intelligence, and not use it, right? But fitness is a state of readiness. Like, I am ready right now to move, to do this. And if you wire yourself, if you train yourself to be in the best emotional states possible, you're going to find everything in your world will change. Because the mental emotional state we're in controls what we feel and therefore what we do. And if you want to change your results, you got to change your actions. If you want to change your actions, you got to change the pattern of emotion. If you want to change the pattern of emotion, we got to change what you do in your head and with your body. And by the way, each morning we'll start out with some of that Egoscue work, because I really want to get you so that your body, when your body feels structurally strong, when everything is centered, your emotions are different as well. And so we're going to warm up each day with that. And you'll notice, if you're not familiar with my work, that I train people, not just up here, but in here. When you put these two together, there's literally no limit to what you can experience. Because ultimately, what controls our life the most? What controls the quality of your life? You could say the government. It certainly can have an impact these days as they've kind of infringed on business and choices trying to make things healthy, but there have been a lot of side effects. Hundreds of millions of people, according to the UN, 200 million people are going to go without food. Because one of the side effects of trying to protect against COVID and shutting things down caused places like Tanzania, where they have 80% of their income comes from tourism, and they don't have money for food. So we're in a pretty intense place. But we got to start with us. Make yourself better. It's kind of like if you get on an airplane, what's the first thing they say? If we run into a problem, the oxygen mask will drop down, grab it, and put it on your child immediately. Is that what they say? No, they say put it on yourself. That sounds so selfish. But why? Because if you don't put it on yourself, you can't help your child. So we're going to start with us, and then we can start expanding, helping others. And we're already doing it. and your name, 1 million people are going to have food that didn't have it before. But more importantly, when we get stronger these next 4 or 5 days, it's not just going to affect you. It's going to affect your kids, your husband, your wife, your coworkers, the people around you. You understand that this and this, the head and heart, that's where the whole game of life is played. And if we want to see what shapes our life, it's invisible forces, corny as that may sound. I mean, what affects your life the most? Things that are invisible. Radiation. Too little, we're dead. Too much, we're dead. We have to have that perfect amount that this planet of ours seems to be in this Goldilocks location, just far enough away from the sun, just close enough for life to flourish. Think about it. Electricity. Electricity, most people have no idea how it works, but they use it all the time. It's invisible. Electricity is how we're able to have this experience around the world in 195 countries right now. Electricity can be used to light up a city or it can be used to kill somebody. So every tool, every invisible force has strengths and weaknesses. We have to learn how to use it. But the most powerful invisible force, I believe, is human emotion, right? What we do with our head and heart. Because anger, rage, love, compassion, those invisible forces shape the quality of your life more than anything else on this earth. And last night, I started reading and I got so engaged. I think I started around 11 o'clock at night. I literally didn't stop going through your videos and your descriptions till literally 6:30 this morning. I was so touched by all of you. And there's so many people I could reach out to, but I saw this woman, Sabina Becker, if you're out there, I just want to give a shout out. If you didn't see Sabina, she was a thalidomide baby, meaning she was born with portions of arms and not the rest. She's learned how to use her feet to do everything. But the beautiful thing about her is her mindset. She is a master of her emotions. She's emotionally fit because she can do things with her feet most people can't do with their hands. And her mindset is, I'm one of the lucky ones because I survived, one of the few thalidomide babies that survive. And here's how I'm living my life. I saw, I want to give a shout out to Lisa, is it Kidney? Yeah, Lisa Mitchell out there in Australia. She's in a hospital bed right now. She's responding right now from having kidney cancer surgery. I want you to know we're sending love out to all of you. I mean, there's so many of you. I read about your marriages, about what's happened with your bodies, about what you've gone through and losses in your families. And it's overwhelming. So I feel a great commitment to make sure these next 5 days really make a difference for you. I know so many people are in a tough place, but we got tools that can make that difference. And I'm not saying that's some hyper positive, optimistic bullshit. I don't believe in positive thinking. I believe in intelligence. I believe in seeing things as they are, but not making it worse than it is. That's what most people do. They make it worse than it is because they're afraid to get their hopes up and be disappointed. But if you don't ever get your hopes up, if you don't ever get disappointed, you're never going to find your drive. We have to discipline our disappointment because there's plenty of it. We're in the middle of winter. There's going to be more. We're not done with what's happening in society. So instead of sitting there and hoping it gets better and praying it gets better, how about you pray and demand that you get better? That's what this week's about. Who's up for 5 days of total intensity and make this stuff happen here? Say aye. Say aye. So in order to get that in our bodies, in order to get to that place, to master more of that internal world, to find the emotions that will get us to follow through instead of pull back, change our relationships, change our career, make it in the middle of all this craziness, still turn it to your advantage. We're going to have to make a psychological change. But to do that requires a simple fundamental that we all know and few people practice. Energy. Energy is life. When your energy is low, what happens to your psychology, to your mindset? When it's low enough, you ever been in a place where you're just so exhausted, so laid out, it's just like, oh my God, I can't even handle more of this stuff.